Hello everyone. In this video we are going to talk about cells that we study under the heading of electrochemistry in chemistry. We will study what is a cell, what are the types of cells, and what are the differences and similarities between cells. So let's start. First of all, you must know what is a cell. Simply, you can remember cell. It is a setup that is a combination of cathode and anode. That is a combination of electrodes. Um, Whenever we combine cathode and anode for a redox reaction, that setup is known as cell. And the next thing you must remember, if we combine two or more cells together, then what it becomes battery. Combination of electrode is known as cell, while the combination of cells is known as battery. Right now we will focus on the cell only, and if you look at the definition that we have studied, it is the combination of cathode and anode. Next thing, you must know what is the difference between cathode and anode. Mostly people, they do not know the exact definition, the exact difference between cathode and anode. But you must always remember, whenever you are asked how you can differentiate between anode and cathode, always remember to differentiate anode from cathode with respect to process, not with respect to the charge. It is incorrect in chemistry if you ever give a difference between anode and cathode with respect to charge. The best definition, the best difference between anode and cathode is with respect to the charge. What is that? Look at this. Anode, it is the electrode at which always oxidation takes place. An electrode on which always oxidation takes place, it is anode. And electrode at which always reduction takes place, it is known as cathode. Now you can also remember this by using these shortcuts that I'm going to tell you. What shortcut you can remember for cathode? Simply you can remember red cat. This shortcut will help you to remember that reduction, red for reduction, cat for cathode. Reduction always takes place at cathode. If reduction takes place at cathode, it is obvious oxidation would always takes place at anode. But you can also remember the shortcut for anode. It is ANOX. N for anode, ox for oxidation. So what you must remember, whenever you are asked to give a definition for anode and cathode, you must define them with respect to the process of oxidation and reduction, and you can remember these two shortcuts for these processes. Next come, now generally all the cells that we study in chemistry, they can be divided into two main categories. There are two main types of cells in chemistry. One type of cell is known as electrolytic cell. This is one type of cell, and the other type of cell is known as galvanic or voltaic cell. These are two general types of cells that we study in chemistry: electrolytic cell, voltaic, and galvanic. First of all, let's study what are the differences between these two types of cells. How you can remember the differences between these two types of cells? First of all, remember first difference. What is an electrolytic cell? It is a cell in which electrical energy, it is converted into chemical energy. Whenever electrical energy is converted into chemical energy, that type of cell is known as electrolytic cell. And what happens in a voltaic cell or galvanic cell? The chemical energy, it is converted into electrical energy or into voltage. Whenever chemical energy is converted into voltage, that is known as voltaic or galvanic cell. This is one basic difference that you can remember between electrolytic and voltaic cell. Second difference, it is in case of electrolytic cells, since we need electrical energy, so there must always be a source of input, a source of electrical energy. And what is that source of electrical energy? That we mostly provide electrical energy with the help of a battery. So battery is the source of input that is used during electrolytic cell. But if ever we are having voltaic or galvanic cell, we do not need any source of input. Rather, there must be a source of output that can tell us how much voltage, or how much electrical energy is being produced by this cell. Now what can be the source of output? There are many different types of sources of output that we use commonly. You can use a galvanometer, you can use a voltmeter. Instead of these instrument, you can use a bulb, you can use some motor. So basically the voltage or the electrical energy produced from the voltaic cell, it can be measured or it can be used to perform different types of work done. So Second difference you must remember, it is that of source of input or source of output. The third difference that is very important, and that is the difference that will tell you why I emphasized that whenever you want to define anode and cathode, you must always define anode and cathode with respect to oxidation and reduction, because many times people, they think anode is positive and cathode is negative, but this is not correct. Remember, in case of electrolytic cell, cathode is negative and anode is positive. This is the charge carried by anode and cathode when the cell is electrolytic. So mostly people, they try to give this definition of anode and cathode. That is incorrect. Why? Because when we are having voltaic cell, in voltaic cell anode becomes negative and cathode becomes positive. So never ever, that is why I said never ever define anode and cathode with respect to the charges. Now whether cathode is negative in electrolytic cell or a cathode is positive in voltaic cell, always at cathode which process takes place? It is reduction. And whether anode is positive in electrolytic cell and anode is negative in voltaic cell, at anode always oxidation takes place. So now you would have come to know why I said that you must always define anode and cathode with respect to the process that take place on these electrodes. Now look at the next thing that I am going to show you. It is the diagram for a cell, and by looking at this cell you must be able to identify that this is the diagram for which type of cell. Now whenever you have been given diagram of a cell where there is a battery, where there is a source of input, that is electrolytic cell, because we need source of input in case of electrolytic cell. And you know, larger terminal of the battery is represented by positive charge, and the smaller terminal is represented by negative charge. Now in this type of cell, if ever I ask which electrode would be negative and which electrode would be positive, you can tell me quite easily. Why? Because the terminal that is connected to the larger terminal of the battery, that electrode is positive, and the electrode that is connected to the smaller terminal of the battery, it is negative. It is negative and positive. So that is quite simple in case of electrolytic cell. But if I give you, now I am going to give you the going to show you the diagram for voltaic cell. You will see in this case, you initially you are unable to tell me which electrode would be negative and which electrode would be positive. See, these are two electrode, electrolyte V, and we connected these two electrode to the voltmeter for the time being. Voltmeter has two terminals, so that is why two electrodes were connected to two different terminals. This is electrolyte. Now suppose one electrode is X, other electrode is Y. Now right now, if at this stage I ask which electrode is negative and which electrode is positive, in case of voltaic cell you cannot tell which electrode is negative or positive right now. But if I give you the exact identity, then you will become able to guess to predict which electrode would be negative and which electrode would be positive. Let's see. If I give you the identity, Y is a magnesium metal rod and X is a copper metal rod. Now if you know the reactivity series, you can guess quite easily that which one of these two would be negative and which one would be positive. Now see, both of these metals, magnesium is a reactive metal. Reactive metals can undergo which process easily? Oxidation. So whenever a metal undergoes oxidation, it becomes anode, because oxidation always takes place at anode. And what I have told you, whenever there is voltaic cell, anode is negative. So in this case, the more reactive element would make negative electrode. So magnesium will undergo oxidation because it is most reactive. Oxidation always takes place at anode, and anode is negative always in case of voltaic cell. Compared to this magnesium, now the copper would become cathode because it would have undergone reduction, and copper cathode would be carrying positive charge. So this information is necessary for voltaic cell whenever you are asked to identify negative and positive electrodes. Now these are the main differences between electrolytic and voltaic cells commonly we study in chemistry. Now what are the similarities? There are two common similarities that you can remember. One thing, whether you have been given electrolytic cell or voltaic cell, the type of reaction is a common feature. What is the type of reaction that always takes place, whether it is electrolytic cell or voltaic cell? The type of reaction that takes place, it is known as redox reaction. And you people know redox is a combination of reduction and oxidation. So this is one similarity. The other common feature of both these cells is the direction of flow of electron. Whether we have been given electrolytic cell or voltaic cell, the direction of flow of electron is always from oxidation to reduction, from anode to cathode. You can see the previous diagram that is in front of you for the electrolytic cell. Electrons are flowing from anode to cathode, from oxidation to reduction. And likewise, in this case, if you want to show the flow of electron direction, electrons will travel from magnesium anode to copper cathode. So always remember, these are the similarities between electrolytic and voltaic cell. Now some examples from the that you can remember from the daily life for electrolytic and voltaic cell. For electrolytic cell, you can remember whenever we carry out purification of some metals, for example purification of copper, electrolytic cell is used. Electrolysis of water, electrolytic cell is used. Whenever we want to do electroplating and other application of electrochemistry, electroplating is also done by using electrolytic cell. So these are the common examples of electrolytic cell. Even extraction of aluminum is done by using electrolytic cell. Now what are the common examples of voltaic cell? We use some dry cells in our daily life in remote controls. Those cells which are not rechargeable, and those cells which are not rechargeable, they are voltaic or galvanic cell. But if you look at the cells, the car battery or the batteries that we are using in our mobile sets and in our laptops, those types of batteries which are rechargeable, they can represent both types of cells depending on the condition. For example, when you are charging your laptop or mobile set, then you have made it electrolytic cell because you are providing electrical energy, and that electrical energy is being stored into chemical energy. But if you switch off the charging and you start using your mobile set or you start using your laptop, then it becomes voltaic or galvanic cell, because stored chemical energy, it is being converted into electrical energy, and that electrical energy helps to run software, different apps on our mobiles and laptops. I hope you would have enjoyed this lecture. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.